In the confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins, not through strength, but by perseverance. Hi everybody, this is Life with Leonard and welcome to another episode. If this is your first time joining me, would you please consider to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it and leave your comments in the comments section below. And many of you guys are always watching and following me on this journey but haven't subscribed yet. Can I please encourage you guys also to do the same? It is good if you guys subscribe, like and share. That's good for the YouTube algorithms, and that way we will grow and we will be able to reach more people who me and you know can benefit from the contents of these videos. Now let me talk about the elephant in the room, my thumbnail. Now my thumbnail to this video says a lot, but without saying what you think it does. And you'll have to watch this video right through to the end to understand exactly what I mean by that. And I would encourage you to do so. The thoughts that I'm going to share with you, the story that I'm going to tell you today, will definitely, it's one of those things you will never ever forget it. You will always remember it. You will make reference to it for the rest of your life. It is just one of those things. And I promise you, and you guys know, whenever I make a promise, I always keep it. And I promise you today, that is the impact that this video and the content that I'm going to share with you today will have on your life. And if you share it with others, it will impact theirs also in that positive and enlightening way. Parents are the first human beings that a child meets in this world. And they are the most important guidance that we have in life. Now, I personally believe that a child is and should always be the product of the love between two people. And whoever we become in life are pretty much based on the foundation that our parents laid in our lives, in our upbringing. Or maybe you don't have parents, but whoever fulfilled that role as a parent in your life. Now, we all know, those of you guys who are parents, that parenting is a complicated endeavor and a huge responsibility. Now, no parent is perfect in carrying out this huge responsibility, but we all strive to be good. We all strive to do it to the best of our own ability. And what I used to do, one of the many things, parenting is not like there's a manual that you get when the baby is born that will specifically step by step give you all the things that you can do to grow and to help develop this child into the best version of themselves. There's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration, and it's an absolute full-time job, 100% dedication. It is such a huge responsibility, and that's why to people who are planning on starting a family, it is so important that obviously there is nothing can prepare you for it, and maybe in the future I'll do more videos regarding that. But it's so important that you are prepared for it financially, psychologically, emotionally, etc. Now, one of the things that I used to do, especially when my kids were a bit smaller, when they were still in pre-primary, my son was still in pre-primary, and the story that I'm referring to, he was about 4 years old, my daughter was about 8 years old. She was around about grade 2 and he was still in pre-primary. So every morning, and like I said, I still do it to this day, they're both in high school now. Every morning when we go to school, I used to just give them some sort of positive thought, an inspirational message to carry them through the day, because I always believe it's like having breakfast in the morning. It's that foundation on which you build your day. And it's also good to start off on a positive note, especially with kids who are still developing, who are so susceptible to things that can happen to them. And I always used to give them these positive thoughts. And I remember this one time, we were talking about making a change, making an impact, making a difference. And obviously I was talking to an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. And my daughter said, "But Dad, is it even possible? How can I make a change? I'm 8 years old. And my brother is only 4 years old." And I told him, I'm going to explain to you how you can make a change tonight when I tell you your bedtime story. Now, just to share with you guys this, I never used to read a story to my children. I never used to. But I used to tell them a bedtime story each and every night. So what I used to do, I used to read the story that I want to tell them, and then I would obviously then just translate it, add my own little juices to make it more, to personalize it for them and make it a little bit more fun. And I just always found it that way because I mean they used to love it. They still do. And I love telling stories anyway. That evening, I told them the story about a trophic cascade. And I'm going to share that with you now. Now, a trophic cascade is an ecological process that starts at the top of the food chain and it tumbles down all the way to the bottom of the food chain. So obviously when I told them that, they asked me, and I mean like kids are, Dad, what is a trophic cascade? So I mean, just that one sentence took us a couple of evenings just to get past that. What is a trophic cascade? What does it mean tumbling down? What does food chain mean? And I had to explain all of that. But I mean, I always me and their mom always created that environment for them to ask questions. We always encourage them to this day to ask questions because that's the way you learn. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to tell the story. So let me go. So a trophic cascade is an ecological process that starts at the top of the food chain and tumbles down all the way to the bottom of the food chain. And one of the classic examples is what happened in the Yellowstone National Park in the United States, where in 1995, one pack of wolves were introduced. Now we all know that wolves kills various species of animals, but perhaps what we are less aware of is that they give life to many others. Now before the wolves arrived, they were absent for about 70 years. And in those 70 years, the number of deers build up and build up. They increased exponentially because there were nothing to hunt them. And even though human beings tried various methods to bring their numbers down, they continued to increase and they reduced the vegetation in the Yellowstone National Park to almost nothing. They just grazed it away. But as soon as the wolves arrived, and even though few in numbers, they started to have the most remarkable effects. First, of course, they killed some of the deers, but that wasn't the major thing. What is much more significant, they radically changed the behavior of the deer. The deer started to avoid certain parts of the park where they could be tracked easily, like the gorges and the valleys. And what happened, the vegetation in that area almost immediately started to regenerate. The trees in particular parts of the park, the size of it quintupled in just 6 years. Bare valley sides quickly became forests of aspen and willow and cottonwood. And as soon as that happened, the birds started moving in. The number of songbirds and migratory birds started to increase greatly. The number of beavers increased. And we know beavers like to eat trees. And beavers, like wolves, are ecosystem engineers. They create niches for other species. And the dams that they build in the rivers was a habitat for otters and fish and amphibians and ducks and the reptiles. And the wolves went on to kill some of the coyotes. And as a result of that, the number of rabbits and mice began to increase, which means more hawks, more weasels, more foxes, more badgers, more ravens and eagles that came down and fed on the leftover carcasses that the wolves have left behind, and the bears too. And their population began to rise, which was also partly because there were more berries growing on the regenerating shrubs, and the bears reinforced some of the impact of the wolves by killing some of the calves of the deer. But here is where it gets really interesting. You see, the wolves changed the behavior of the rivers. They began to meander less. There were less erosion. The channels narrowed. There were more pools formed. The rivers changed in response of the wolves. And the reason was that the regenerating forests stabilized the banks so that they collapsed less often, so that the rivers became more fixed in their course. There were less soil erosion because the deer were chased away out of certain areas, and the vegetation regenerated and stabilized the soil. The wolves, although small in number, did not just transform the ecosystem of the Yellowstone National Park, but also its physical geography. And that was the message that I gave to my 8 and 4-year-old. And I obviously brought it to them on their level. And I want to tell you today, and that nobody is too insignificant, nobody is too small to make a difference, to make an impact. You are worthy. You can make a change. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter what your history or your family history is. You can be the difference. You can be the change that you want to see in this world. Thank you so much, everybody, for once again joining me on today's episode. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it, and leave your comments in the comments section below. And as usual, it is important that you like, share, and comment, and I go through each and every comment, and I really try my utmost best to respond to all of them. But it's very good for the YouTube algorithms, and as you and I know, that's good for us to grow, and that way we will be able to reach more people who you and me know can benefit from the contents of these videos. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.